All right, good morning. This is day 2 of OSH2018. We have a full agenda packed again today, beginning with a forum that was the art of instrument flying. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Attended that this morning and let you know what we already learned there. Then later today we're going to go to a session on night flying, followed by an engine failure in flight. There's another one about flying after an accident. We'll see what that's about. A session on dynamic prop balancing, which our airplane Conrad had earlier this year. And depending on how we feel and how much bug spray we get, we'll go to the ultralight park and watch the ultralights, followed by the powered power gliders. And of course, Brian is here with me as well. Hey, Brian.
All right. Well, yeah. Good morning. And we're just sitting out here on the grounds of AirVenture, and currently we're sitting under the wing of a beautiful 1948, yeah, Luscombe. Beautiful airplane. It's been restored. It's got some information sitting in the cockpit about the restoration. And like many other antique and classic airplanes, it's just sitting out here to enjoy and walk around it and look at it, or sit under the wing and make a video. So for the IFR seminar that we went to this morning, a couple things I took away from it was, one was a reminder about a WAAS-enabled LPV instrument approach, and he was talking about all the specifics, and he asked the class, where along the approach does the vertical guidance needle become active? And I have to say, I had to sit there for a minute and think, well, you know, I look at those all the time, but when does the thing, exactly when does it become active?
Well, because for the most part, and anybody who flies with a GPS just waits for it to change.
Well, yeah.
You don't think about it, but it's good to know.
Right, and the answer was on an LPV WAAS-enabled instrument approach, it is when the final approach fix is the next waypoint in the flight plan, and that's when it becomes effective. So that was neat. Another couple of points had to do with rules, and you know, there's all the different sayings about rules. Rules only apply to those who think they don't apply to them, or rules only apply to those who are unable to make up rules for themselves, that type of thing. And one of the things about rules was recency of experience for IFR, and he got into the difference between being by the rules legally current, and the difference between that and being proficient with a recency of experience. So legally, to file and fly IFR, you have to have made 6 approaches within the preceding 6 months with holding and of course tracking and that type of thing. And his point was, if your 6th one that you've done was 5 months and 28 days ago, are you really in a position to be launching off from North Carolina, filing an instrument flight plan, flying through the weather all the way to Oshkosh? And the answer is yes, you're legally able to do it, but it's probably not a good idea. You're not really all that current with your recency of relevant experience. And the other thing had to do with fuel. We're very conservative with our fuel reserves, and we go well above and beyond the legal requirements. And you know, for IFR, you have to have enough fuel to get to your intended destination. If you need an alternate, you have to be able to fly the missed approach, fly to your alternate, land at your alternate, and then have an additional 45 minutes after that. But the guy was making the point of, well, what if you do 2 approaches at your intended destination before you decide to go? And then what if you're on the way to the alternate and you have to do a hold? You know, all of a sudden you don't have enough fuel to get where you're going. Legally, you are within the right, but practically you're probably not going to have it work out every time. So anyway, those were a couple things I took out of it, and I just wanted to share those. So Brian, you had a couple things you got.
I did. So the first, of course, is anybody who's flown with a Garmin 430 or 530 has realized that there's a lot of knob twisting and button pushing on them, which we do a lot when we fly with those. And one thing that reminded us this morning is that a lot of the menu, I should say, a lot of these screen displays are customizable, and if you just pop into any old airplane that you're renting, it's going to be set to how the last person really configured it. So as you begin to fly in instrument conditions with a new airplane or with your existing 530, 430, remember to go in there and make sure that you have all the information that you want to see on the screens instead of whatever the last person had in there. So that was the first one that was kind of interesting to me. The second pointer he had is when you're taking off from an airport with an IFR flight plan, don't only just load the flight path to your intended destination, but at the very end of it, you want to put your departure airport, as well as which approach you would need to fly if you had an emergency and needed to fly back to it. So that way, if you're taking off and you start to have some engine trouble, it's just a matter of activating the approach and flying back in, as opposed to trying to figure out which one to load, while you're in the midst of trying to troubleshoot.
Yep, dialing in all that information when you're having an emergency.
Right. So I thought that was good advice. And the third thing, which we have in our head right now, but it is a good idea to document this, is all the configuration information for how you achieve certain flight parameters. Whether it's descending at 90 knots with the flaps out, what engine settings do you have to have for that? If you're trying to climb at 500 feet per minute, or if you're trying to climb at VX or VY, which pitch settings do you have? So just mark it all down, so that when you're asked to do something or you need to do something, you just can either from memory or by looking at the card determine what power pitch settings give you exactly what you need. So that's what I took out of that. Do you have anything else, Brad?
I have one more thing before we sign off. I would like for you to just kind of pick that camera up and show them the Luscombe behind us, just to see what we're sitting next to. It's an awesome little thing. And then turn it over that way and look at that DC-3. Yeah, look at that. That's the Luscombe. And then right over there, look at that. That is a beautiful example of a DC-3. Speaking of vintage aircraft, just sitting there to walk around and enjoy. So anyway, that's what we have here at Oshkosh. And we will check in with you guys later on.
Hope you're having a great day.